right, hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is video 773. Had a thought. This is going to be about windows of opportunity and whatnot. Today I'm cleaning my room, as you can see, laundry behind me. I kind of go through periods. For the longest time when I was married, I was like the primary house cleaner. And so this time around, I guess lately, last 2 or 3 years, since my depression kicked in, I have not been as on top of cleaning as I used to be. So as I clean my room, I find things. I found these guys. I found, I don't know if you can see it, which side it's on. Anyway, sorry, I'm not putting, this is the blue one, I think. I found a hair bow. I found this one. This is a Pikachu Pokemon hair bow. Anyway, just as I find stuff, it's like I put it on me, like a starfish or something. Anyway, an octopuses do that. They grab stuff as they try. Anyway, doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. So we'll talk about windows of opportunity. I thought about this morning, and this has been something that kind of borders on a poor meism. So if you'll look at it from kind of where I'm coming from, you know. But here we go. Here's the idea. Do you think that there are periods of our development as we're growing up and we're becoming adults and we enter middle age, that there are windows, there are periods of time in our lives and our development that we're kind of given definitely the freedom, for lack of a better word, to explore and develop, but we're just more wired, I think, for learning. Does that make any sense? And here's an example, like college. You know, traditionally, I'm going to blow this out. This is a wood wick candle, and it flutters, which I like, but not right now while I'm trying to talk. College is a good example. Like high school, like my experience with high school was, you know, go to school. From middle school, go to high school, go to school. Study, take tests, get A's. If you're succeeding, you know, my father's definition of success was getting an A. And with the exception of PE, I wonder why, I got straight A's all through high school. You know, graduated with a near 4.0 because I got like a C in PE. Okay. But anyway, not to brag, but like my mindset at high school was success equals grade, da 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 da. And I never thought about at the end of high school the next step, you know, college, career, whatever. Now, obviously, it was trans. I didn't want to face it. I knew that I was trans. I knew that I was trans in high school. But I had kind of come to a place of comfort by saying, well, I'll deal with this someday, but it's not something I'm going to deal with right now. You know, I didn't know how to deal it, you know. We all have that shit in our youth where we don't know what it is. We just know we don't feel right. Okay. And also, to put in context, there was no internet, okay, when I was in school. There was no internet. We had bulletin board systems that a friend of mine, Brett, he was real kind of savvy. His dad was really savvy with computers. I think he actually worked for like Commodore. Don't hold me to that. But, you know, the closest thing to the internet was a bulletin board system where your whopping 300 baud modem would connect and you would leave messages for other people. Very primitive by today's standards. But, and so, you know, it hadn't, getting knowledge like that hadn't really developed, where now, you know, in our smartphones, we basically have, these wonderful mobile computers, we have information at our fingertips. We don't have to wonder anymore. We just Google it. But back to the idea of window of time, a period of time that, so again, think about, kind of the idea, at least in my way I was raised, kind of when you turn 18 and you graduate, typically it's when the kid leaves the house and the child becomes a young adult. And if the parent has done everything they could, should have, would have, then the child can kind of survive on their own. They can fly. The bird leaves the nest, right? Even though they might stumble and question and still have things to learn, the adult has given them at least enough skills to survive, hopefully. Which, as we know, can be very hard for a trans youth, because you're coming to terms with who and what you are. But back to the idea of that window of opportunity, I think a human brain, there's a period of time, depending on how you were raised and depending on how your parents believed. Some parents, I found out, later in life, some parents plan for their children's college and they're very supportive of what the child wants to do and be. And, let's say the child says, I want to be a mechanical engineer. And the parents are like, oh, well, we've planned for this, and, however the arrangement goes down, it's almost like alien to me, the way I was raised, that the parent would pay for college. But, again, the parent is there to kind of help their child through that period of their life in an ideal situation, And so the child goes to school and graduates and gets a job, and they're kind of off on their own, right? In theory. And what I'm wondering is, and that was not my experience, okay? That was not my experience at college. But what I wonder is that, is there a period of time in our human development, in our brain, that is like the ideal time to go to college? And I know you can go to college at any point in your life. You have people middle-aged and older who go to school for a second degree or a different degree. They change careers in the middle of their life, blah, 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 blah. I know all that's possible. Okay. But what I'm wondering is if there is an ideal window of time in a person's life when, that is, it's kind of accepted that the child, the son or the daughter, and I'll use the sons because it's what I'm familiar with, kind of, believe it or not. Surprise. And I never did it, but like if I had gone to a college and I joined a fraternity and I would spend my weekends binge drinking and, doing this dumb stuff you do in college age, or if you're a girl, you join a sorority, not to put a negative spin on either of those. But, there are certain opportunities you only have at that time. And it's kind of like common accepted, you get your learner's permit. I know at the University of Florida, geez, you don't get away with murder, but, I lived next to Frat Row, Gainesville. My apartment was like next to Frat Row, and I mean, you just knew that Saturday afternoons, especially if there was a football game, there'd be red cups all over the lawn, and people would be drunk and passed out, and it just stank on Sunday. Oh golly, it would stink of like rotten beer and just. And there were some fun times in there. The frat guys, one time real quick, I'll tell you a story. They got so drunk, they started directing traffic. And here's three drunk guys in the middle of a road, a two-way street, stopping cars, and you this way like a police officer, and if someone had called it in, the campus police would come over and okay, you guys, enough of your shenanigans. gonna have to take you in. you know. So there's kind of like a learner's permit for being an adult, I guess. College can be a big playground, can be a big toy. Okay, remember the big playgrounds in the 80s, the big toys? And the saying, sow your oats or whatever. You do stuff that maybe you're on your own. It's your first time away, and you do things anyway. But once that window of opportunity passes, I can remember hadn't transitioned yet. And actually, I had transitioned and then detransitioned. What a pleasant memory. And so when I had basically it was like my third time going back to school. It was about my 7th or my 8th year of college. Okay, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I government was giving me free money because I didn't, I'd have to pay it back someday. Now, where was I going with that? Oh, but I noticed it was when I was working on my degree in technical theater, set design. Hi, baby. I noticed that the kids, I was getting to be too old to be at college. And actually, I can remember one night I was at the theater, and I was doing the front helping out near the box office. When there's an actual when you're a set painter and the production is going, you're working on the next production in the shop. But at night, you still, I don't know, it's addictive. If you're a theater person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You just get addicted to being around the theater and you don't want to leave it. If I could have slept there, I would have. But anyway, I was helping out the front lobby, and I noticed that some of the kids at school, they were actually high school students that I taught when I was teaching. I was a middle school science teacher. So here I had kids that I had taught when they were in 7th or 8th grade, and here so many years later, I was working on another degree, and I saw my students as young adults, as freshmen, college students. Or seniors, we would get seniors come to the college campus to see a show or whatnot. And it really made me think about, I've been here too long. This is, my brain, I think, had gotten burnt out, got to the point that no matter how much I read or I studied, I wasn't taking in new information. My brain wanted to move on. So what I'm driving at here is, I guess, is there a period of time that, is more advantageous or most socially accepted to learn or to be? And I think that's part of when we have our transition and we go through that pupa stage. And, we're excited because we finally get to do what we wanted to do. I finally get to be the person I've always wanted to be, the man I've always wanted to be, or the woman that I've always wanted to be. And as you go through your first 2 or 3 years, and your body's changing and your looks are changing, and yes, you definitely have a plethora of negative shit to deal with. Your family, my friends, my work, blah, 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 blah. My parents, okay, my spouse. You have a spouse, a child. But, there's just certain windows of time that when you're younger, I think you're kind of given that, training wheels that you don't have later in life. And I just wonder if there's certain, in an ideal world, I guess that's, I'm definitely envious of the trans youth today. I must admit, the kids who, I wouldn't want to be them. Don't misunderstand me. Shit, I don't want to be any younger than I am. I'm like finally figured out who I am, sort of. But you know, the kids who their parents support their transition, and the parents will defend their kids, especially like the mom in Texas who like goes before the state legislature every year and is like, will you people just leave my child alone, let my child have a childhood, blah 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 blah. That's definitely stressful and whatnot. um, but I'm kind of envious of the kids who, you know, they got on, you know, hormone blockers, and you know, when they have their second puberty, it's may very well be their first puberty, you know. uh, I guess if they were on blockers, you know, just how much their body is going to change and how much better results they'll get. You know. But again, I wonder again if there's certain windows of time, and it's one of the things that I think us older trans folks, you know, there's some missed opportunities. You know, obviously, I've said this before. I can't be a Girl Scout. You know, I'm an old woman. You know, there's certain things we just won't have an opportunity to do. Not that I would want to be a Girl Scout now. But I can remember my sister when she thought about doing Girl Scouts. I could remember being, golly, I must have been a toddler, you know, young toddler, young child, and being dragged to the troop meetings, and I loved the little dresses and the little socks and, you know, the clothes, and to be a girl in a room full of girls, you know. Won't have that. Won't have that. But you know, so yeah, so I guess there's some acceptance. There's some opportunities we just won't have. But again, back to the idea of windows and time. You know, college for me, when I transitioned the first time, you know, was kind of the stereotypical college was the best place to do it. You know, um, obviously I had a semester that was funky. Okay. Um, but by the end of that semester, you know, I was different. I was presenting as a woman, as a girl, as a young lady, and my body had changed, and you know, I was 20 at the time, you know, so my body changed, you know, and you know, by the second semester of doing it, you know, it was different. I was you know, full timing it, you know, walking around campus and going as a girl, and I mean, it was a neat experience. But I was also alone. You know, there wasn't a support group. There was no LGBT. Da 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 da. There was the. By the time I had left, and obviously doing the technical theater, I was around. Believe it or not, there are a lot of gay people in theater. Surprise, surprise. You know, we had, I think, the start of probably what would become LGBTQ type student groups and resources had kind of started to, you know, it was the seed of what would become student groups and whatnot. You know, that had just started. They began to organize. Let me put it to you that way. Whereas before it was, you know, a tribe of one. It was me. My therapist in Gainesville had hooked me up with, again, a support group that was just starting out. And it was two older trans women and me, and then a trans man and his spouse. And it was funny when I first met him, and I remember, I'm trying to remember what his name, I think his name was Devin. And I thought Devin was a trans woman, like, you know, a guy transitioning to be a woman, but actually it was the reverse. And I felt so stupid when I realized it, because I was sitting there and I was going, boy, you know, she's lucky, or they're lucky, I guess I should say, in today's colloquialism. You know, they're lucky because they really, their body is, you know, they'll pass when they transition. And then I was like, wait a minute, Devin, you know, and someone else, I'm trying to remember what his name was, the other trans man. Oh, what was his name? Sorry, I don't want to waste your time. Not that I haven't already. I can't think of his name. Stratton? Stratton was the last name. Anyway, we'll call him Chuck. Um, we he was funny, and I kind of developed a relationship with him because we were both kind of at the school. And one of my experiences, I was much like today, I'm embarrassed with my voice, but we were going through the drive-through at Burger King, and I had ordered food, and it was like my first time through the drive-through, you know, full time, and he kind of helped me out. I got nervous, I chickened out, you know, and he was like, oh, well, switch places with me in the car, and so that's kind of what we did. It was kind of funny. And we had another experience. We were out at, I can't think of it, the lake near Gainesville. There are gators in the lake, surprise, surprise. But you know, we would go there and walk around, and it was a way of socializing myself, getting me out into the community and whatnot. And I can remember being at the lake with him, and we were just talking. We'd go there and watch the sunset. You know, it wasn't a romantic relate. He had a wife. He had a girlfriend. Okay, he's a trans man. But we were, like I said, we were just kind of coming up at the same time with whatever. And we were driving home from there, and I could smell like something burning, but I didn't know what it was. And it turned out that the rear light in my Toyota Corolla caught fire. It was an electrical problem in the trunk. And so here we are, the side of the road. You know, when you're doing your first bit, you don't want to attract attention to yourself, right? And so here I am with the trunk open and trying to put out this fire, and everyone who walks by, you know, there's this crowd that starts to gather, and this is like, you know, the second or the third time I went out as me in public, and oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. But trial by fire, I guess, literally. It's kind of funny and whatnot. Oh man. But anyway, back to the idea of windows. I wonder if there's a certain time, and I guess what got me thinking about it this morning was my daughter. You know, yeah. What will she do? Will she go away to college? Will she stay here? Will she? I don't know. But I wonder if there's, like I said, a time frame that's like when you do it. What's the best? You know, I don't know. I don't know. I've got a lot of memories coming in here I've forgotten about. Anyway, I'll sign off here because I'm fading. But yeah, are there windows of time? Probably. You know, what's accepted by our society, and what opportunities do we have available to us? You know. Anyway, food for thought. All right, till next time. Good luck. Bye.